Hi everyone, this is Heba from My Little Journal, and I'm really excited to be sharing my Reading with Heba journal. If you're not familiar, I do have a book club on Instagram, and we get to vote on books, read the winning book for the month, and what I'm doing is documenting the books we read throughout the year. And I'm using an Archer and Olive Traveler's Notebook journal. It's a Traveler's Notebook size. I am loving it. I love the paper in the Archer and Olive. It's thick, it's heavy duty, and you can stamp all the things in there. So I'm really excited about this. Plus, I'll be able to fit in multiple years in one journal. So that's a plus for me. So I'm using it to document each month and what we read and just kind of writing a little review or what the book is about, all that good stuff. And I'm using my Reading with Heba stamp set. This stamp set is perfect if you are a part of my book club, but also for documenting any book club or any kind of reading. I really, really love it. I've been enjoying using it and stamping all the things and documenting the books we read throughout the year. So I'm really excited about this. I was lucky enough to collaborate with Feed Your Craft to bring the stamp to you guys. I will have it linked in the description box. Again, it's not just for Reading with Heba Book Club. You can use it for any book documentation. So I'm going to share with you what I have already set up, and then we're going to work on, I think, March's book. So I used the stamp set to stamp a little like intro for my journal here. And I basically just used my Reading with Heba stamp set. It turned out really nice, really cute. I even used some of my new Close to My Heart ink pads. Turned out really adorable. And I documented January, which was Daisy Jones in the Six. I also have a process video for this layout. I will try to remember to link it up above for you guys, but I had fun with this, and I'm trying to keep with the aesthetic of the book. So I'm choosing photos that kind of make sense and go with the book. So I use like guitars, music notes, kind of the 60s vibe, 60s, 70s vibe, concerts and concert tickets. I had fun with that. I'm also using the Feed Your Craft playlist stamp set. I think that's what it's called. And I'm using that to document if I read this through an audiobook or physical. But because I did it with both physical and audiobook, I decided to use both covers. And then February, we read Such a Fun Age. Again, choosing photos that make sense to the story. So if you've read this book with us, you know that there was a supermarket scene, high school, nanny, little things like that, finding yourself. So I tried to choose photos that represented that, and I had a lot of fun with this. And I have been using some of my Feed Your Craft stamps as well with my Reading with Heba Book Club stamp. So today we're going to work on March. For March, we read A Woman Is No Man. Loved this book. I think I ended up giving it 5 stars, if I'm not mistaken. I think I've been giving 4s and 5 stars to our book club picks because they have been so good. And like I said, I'm going to be documenting the 2 photos of the book. So I just used Google for that, or you could use Goodreads and take a screenshot of the book covers. This book is all about a Palestinian woman moving to the US, getting married, things like that. So I made sure to choose like the photos of where she's from and where she moved to. She moved to New York, just little pictures of moments from the book, like the subway and how difficult it was for her to get on the subway, a bookstore, a photo of the streets in New York and homes in New York. I don't know why this photo just kind of gave me that vibe of her home in New York with the basement and everything. So I just chose little photos like that, a female wearing the hijab. So just things like that that I thought would go well with the theme of the book and the aesthetic of the book. So we're going to go ahead. I'm going to speed this up, and we're going to put this spread together and use some of my Feed Your Craft stamp sets. Okay, guys, let's start working on my layout. I'm I'm going to go ahead and lay out my photos. Now, I look at this as if it's a puzzle. I want to balance out the photos with the stamping, with the embellishing. So I'm kind of playing with this. I did struggle with this spread just because I printed my photos too big. Now, I like to keep the photos small enough where I have kind of like this collage going on, but I printed them this time around a little bit too big, and I think that's why I struggled laying out my photos. Some of these photos are going to fall in the fold, so I'm going to trim some of them out, which is okay. I've done this before, but that's not the reason I struggled. It's literally because they're so big and I couldn't fit so many kind of in between each other, if that makes sense. And I will change my mind multiple times throughout the video. Even all the way to the end, you'll see me kind of move around some of the photos even after I stuck them down. Now, because I'm keeping my traveler's notebook cohesive, I want all my spreads to be cohesive. I've been using 2 book covers. One I add in the left corner, and then the other, I usually use it to represent that I listened to this book through audiobook. So what I did, I decided to just go ahead and stick them down and then grab that stamp set from Feed Your Craft to stamp it directly on my spread and then add the book cover in the center. So I've been doing that for each book. I think for our book club picks, I've been reading the book on my Kindle or physically and listening to it through audiobooks. So this stamp set works really well. There's also a stamp set from Feed Your Craft that's called Reading List, and it has a large stamp that you can add journaling and kind of document the title, the author, the ratings, all that good stuff. And I've been using that stamp as well on each spread and just kind of talking about the book or what the book is about and adding that in the center of the stamp. Now, because this stamp is so large and it's just really thin lines, I always struggle stamping it on my traveler's notebook. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because the Archer and Olive traveler's notebook is pretty thick or what, but when I stamp it, it's kind of crooked. It bothers me, and it takes a lot for me to get bothered by stamping. So you know how much I was bothered if I decide to cover it up. I decide, of course, I'm going to cover it up. I stamp it on some white paper. I will trim it out and cover up my boo-boo. But I have decided that from now on, I will be stamping the stamp on white paper and trimming it out, and maybe even run it through my printer ahead of time to add my journaling. That way it saves me some time. But for now, because this was not planned, I'm going to end up just printing out my journaling separately and adding it in the center of that stamp. So I'm back to moving photos around. Like I said, I kind of struggle with this spread. I'll even trim down some of these photos. Again, like I mentioned earlier, I felt like they were too big. I wish I went smaller, but it's okay. I can use my scissors and trimmer to cut them down. So I will change my mind a few times before I start stamping. And I did edit a lot of this out so you don't have to watch me struggling because honestly, it's embarrassing. But anyways, once I stick down a few of these photos, I'm going to grab my month by month, I think that's what it's called, stamp set from Feed Your Craft, to stamp the month right above my book cover. I've been doing this for every single spread. And then I will grab my Reading with Heba stamp set to stamp Stop and Smell the Pages. I thought it would look cute underneath one of my photos, but let me tell you this. I stamped it, and then I stamped the little heart from the stamp set, and I didn't like it. It was bugging me for some reason. I don't know what it is. Maybe it was too close to my photo. Maybe it was just not working in that area. So I will end up changing that or covering it up later on, and you'll see at the end of the video. But for now, I just keep it as is and I move on. I stamp this circle stamp that says Virtual Book Club, and I'm going to stamp the public library stamp in the center. I I punched it out with my circle punch, and I'm going to add it next to my journaling card. Then I thought I'm going to use some of the stickers from my sticker sheet. I end up adding the Reading with Heba next to my book cover, and I wanted to use the sticker that said Book Club. So I thought I was going to add it underneath this photo, but you're going to see me remove it and stamp a little coffee cup there and then add it again. But while I'm thinking about it, I added these little heart stickers right next to my journaling card, and this is where I decide I'm removing that sticker. I'm going to grab the stamp from my stamp set with the books and the coffee cup, but I'm going to cover the bottom portion. I don't want to stamp the books. I just want to stamp the coffee cup. So I cover it with some washi tape. I'm going to add some ink, remove the washi tape, and stamp the cup right underneath my photo. Grab that sticker again and add it right underneath the coffee cup. And then it has like a little shelf for it. It's really cute. I like that idea, and I should be using it more often. And my stamp set came with the filler stamp for the coffee cup, so I'm going to use it to fill my coffee cup. I kind of matched it with my book cover, and it looks really cute. I also wanted to stamp Read Past My Bedtime next to this photo. It just felt like it needed something next to it. It was pretty empty. I think I'm finished, but really I'm not, because that stamp underneath my photo is really bothering me. So I decide I'm just going to cover it with another photo. I will also fill that space with a smaller photo, but because it was too big and it didn't fit nicely, so I'm going to have to trim it down, which I'm okay with. Again, I printed these too big. Once I stick it down in between the folds, I notice that I have this little box next to it that's empty and it needs a little something. So I'm going to stamp the Kindle from my stamp set, and I will go through my sticker sheets. I find a little arrow that I can add, and then I call my layout done. Man, did I switch around things, but I'm so thankful that my tape runner doesn't tear paper and is easily removed. So anyways, once I add my arrow, I'm going to call this done. Don't forget, I will be adding all the links for everything I use down in the description box for you. I hope you enjoyed watching this video, and if you did, please give me a thumbs up. And if you are new to my channel, please consider subscribing, and I hope to see you guys very soon. Bye.